Well, Iranians living in Ukraine are demanding that their government stop supplying Russia with attack drones. Ukraine says that it's shot down hundreds of Iranian drones launched by Moscow. Tehran insists that it is not providing Russia with the weapons.
The blood of Ukrainians is on your hands. That's the cry from Iranian protesters in Kyiv as Russia's drone attacks in Ukraine continue. Kyiv's Western allies, including the European Union and the United States, claim Iran is supplying the weapons. This is especially painful for us, the Iranian people living here. The country we were born in and the regime now in power is sending drones to kill us, our friends and acquaintances in Kyiv. Iran denies that it's producing the drones, which have become a key weapon for Russia. In the past month, the invaders have often used them to target crucial energy infrastructure. Ukraine has been pushing back. From September 13th, when the first Shahed 136 kamikaze drone was shot down, until today, we have shot down more than 300 Shahed drones. Standing alongside one of the downed weapons, President Volodymyr Zelensky says 30 drones were sent by Russia in 2 days, with defence forces shooting 23 of them down. The Ukrainian government has given Iran a formal demand to stop supplying the drones to Russia.
Well, for more on this, I spoke with Mark Cansey, and earlier he is a retired U.S. Marine colonel. He's now a senior advisor with the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. I asked him what we know about the drones that Russia is using in Ukraine.
Well, the most plentiful drone seems to be this Shahed 136. It's really like a cruise missile. It is a kamikaze drone. It's fired once. It's guided by GPS. It has a pretty long range, but it flies low and slow, so it's very vulnerable. That's why the Ukrainians have been able to shoot so many down. But Russia is using them because they're running out of cruise missiles. They fired many during the war. Their ability to produce more is quite limited, so they've gone to these Iranian drones.
And how can we be sure that it is Iran that is providing these drones?
Well, remember, when a drone or a cruise missile explodes, it doesn't disappear. The wreckage is still at the site of the explosion, and there are lots of pictures online showing wreckage from these drones. And you can see that they match the kinds of drones that Iran has fielded. Iran has not hidden these drones. They've showcased them. They're very proud of their drone program. So you can see what they produce, and then you can see the wreckage. It's clearly the same weapon.
And if this is true, then obviously we've got Iran violating the arms export embargo that the West has imposed upon it. But what does this tell us about Russia, the fact that Russia is turning to Iran for weapons?
Well, Russia is hard up for munitions. Ukraine is getting them from the United States and NATO, but Russia doesn't have a very good source. They've gone to North Korea. Now they've gone to Iran. They can produce some domestically, but very limited. We have to keep in mind that wars require a continuous stream of weapons and munitions to keep armies in the field. Ukraine has its supplies from U.S. and NATO. Russia is scrambling to keep its army supplied.
And Russia says that it has completed its call-up of up to 300,000 military reservists. So what does that mean then overall for Russia's strategy in Ukraine right now? I mean, is this the final call-up reservists that Russia can pull from?
Well, first, I doubt that they've called up all 300,000. That would double the size of their army. I know Shoigu made that claim. Maybe they've sent out notices, but it takes a lot of time to call that many reservists up, given the small size of the Russian army beforehand. Nevertheless, some of them are clearly getting to the front lines. The Russian intention is to beef up its forces. They've taken a lot of casualties. Many units were ground down and way under strength. Bringing in these additional personnel will bring these units up to strength. their strategy is not to go back on the offensive. They're not trying to regain the initiative. But what they will try to do is to hang on to what they have, prevent any further Ukrainian advances, and extend the war into the winter. Their hope is that the Europeans will crack under cold weather, inflation, recession, high energy prices, and that the European populations will demand a ceasefire that would help Russia in the long term.
Mark Hansen with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Hansen, we appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on the show.